Hello, everyone. Welcome to another masterclass here with me, Anna English, on English Like a Native. Okay, so do let me know that you're here. Let me know that you can hear me and see me and that you're all well and happy. I can see that some of you have already been chatting in the chat box, which is fantastic. Nishanta, lovely to see you here. Francesca, Lalito, lovely. So many of you here. Now, I must let you know that I had a little accident yesterday, as I'm sure you can see from my face. I was playing squash, which is one of my favorite sports, and somebody hit me on the head with their squash racket. I did go to the hospital to see if it needed stitching, but luckily it didn't, and it's closed nicely. But yes, I have this mark on my head, and it'll probably be there for a couple of weeks. So that's what happened. It was a squash accident, for those of you wondering what's happened to my face. I have also had questions already from some of you asking, where is the other lesson? So actually a couple of lessons that you can't see, number 3 and number 4, because this is number 5 in the English Masterclass series. Well, the other lessons that you can't see in the series are actually on the ELAN community for students of the ELAN courses. So these live streams are normally exclusive to ELAN students only. But for the next few months, once a month, I will be sharing one of these live streams with all of you. Because sharing is caring. And so that's why this is number 5 and you haven't seen number 3 and 4. That's because you're not a member of the courses, the ELAN courses and the community that I have as part of the courses. If you are a student on one of my courses, then all you have to do is head over to the community area and look under live lessons, and you'll see a back catalogue of all the previous live lessons. The pronunciation lessons and the English lessons are all there in the community. Okay, fabulous. Shout out to the Philippines. Hello, hello, hello. Lovely. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at some C1 vocabulary. And we're doing that with the help of Sensations English, which is a resource I've talked about many times before. They're a really fabulous addition to your English learning. And so I'm going to share with you now the article that we're going to look at today. And well, let me just play it and then you can enjoy it. And later we'll break down all the vocabulary. Okay, let's listen to it.
Tokyo's first robot-staffed cafe is more than a mere marketing stunt to draw customers. Dawn Cafe is breaking down barriers for those living with physical or mental impairment, leaving them unjustly disenfranchised from society. Operating robots called Oriheim from their homes, employees have a variety of capabilities, such as handling the robots using eye movements via specialized computer boards, which also allows them to converse with the clientele. Kentaro Yoshifuji, co-founder of the robotics group Ori Laboratory, believes the cafe's success hinges on the ability to have communication between employees and customers.
Customers here are not exactly coming to this location just to meet Orihime. They come here because of the people behind Orihime, and they will come back to see them again.
The cafe opened its doors just in time for the city's hosting of the Paralympics, which also coincided with the We the 15 global push for an end to prejudice against the world's disabled population. One of the cafe's employees, Michio Imai, tells us that his job gives him a sense of achievement.
As long as I'm alive, I want to give something back to the community by working.
Conversations via small robots help customers discover more about the experiences of those operating them, which turns out to be a great learning opportunity for all involved. Mamoru Fukaya shares his experience.
The pilot was very friendly, since he said he can't work outside his home. It's very good for such a person to have this kind of chance.
While humanoid robots traverse the cafe floor waiting tables, the small robots provide a more human element to the experience. Many may shrug off the robot cafe as a mere fad. Nevertheless, for Imai, it's his saving grace.
I feel happy if I can be part of society.
Fantastic. Okay, so hopefully you were able to follow that, but don't worry if you weren't, because I'm going to go through some of the vocabulary now that you might have struggled with. Make it clearer for you, and then we can look again at the entire article. And hopefully that will make a lot more sense to you. Okay, so just before I do that, I just want to show you, because Sensations English have been very kind in letting me use their material to do this lesson. I'm just going to show you, if you're not familiar with their site, you can watch that video again at some other levels. So if you felt that it was too hard, you can move down to a level more suited to you, and you'll see the same video, but at your level. So it's been rewritten at all these different levels specifically, so you can move through the levels. You've then got a transcript of what you've just watched. And then at the bottom, this is what I really love, is that you've got all these games that you can play. How do I scroll across here now? Oh yes, down there we go. So you've got a number of different ways that you can then put into practice what you've just seen and what you just read. And there's lots of things for you to do here, interactive activities. So there you go. Now, what I'm going to do is stop sharing that screen, and I'm going to share with you the notes that I've made. So just bear with me. To bear with someone means to just wait a moment. Wait a moment. Bear with me. Share a window, that one. Yes, please. Okay, fabulous. Can you see this now? Hopefully you can. Okay, so let's just work through some of that vocabulary. Okay, so the first thing that we heard was talk of a marketing stunt. A marketing stunt. Now, a marketing stunt is an event, something that's put on in order to get attention for a brand or a product in particular. So, for example, if I worked at the company Speedo and we make swimwear, if we had a new product out, a new type of swim shorts or Speedos, then I might have Tom Daly or one of the divers, one of the famous divers, wearing that product and doing a dive into a pool of beans or something unusual, a one-off event that is purely a marketing stunt, so that lots of newspapers and news outlets cover that story, so that everybody hears about this stunt and become aware of the new product for Speedo. So that's a marketing stunt. Can you think of any marketing stunts? Can you think of any marketing stunts that have gone wrong? Because sometimes they do. Sometimes people will put on a marketing campaign or a marketing stunt and it backfires. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. In fact, it creates bad press or a negative vibe around a new product or company. So can you think of anything? Do let me know. Okay, so a marketing stunt. The next is the adjective mere. I thought this was quite an interesting word, and I thought that I should mention it. Mere. So it can be used to emphasize that something is not large or important. Think of it meaning it's nothing more than. Okay, it's nothing more than. But sometimes mere can be used when you want to show that it has a big impact on you. So I might say, the mere mention of his name made me crumble with fear. The mere mention of his name made me crumble with fear. But you see, mere still kind of means the same thing. Mere still means the small thing. It might seem unimportant. The small mentioning of someone's name, the mere mention of his name, makes me fall to the ground in fear. So this tiny thing actually has a big impact on me. Okay, so mere can be used in that way, but overall it means this small unimportant thing. Okay. In the article that you've just watched, they talk about the whole concept of the robots being a mere marketing stunt, or not being a mere marketing stunt. We're not sure yet. We'll find out in time. Time reveals everything. Okay, so let's go back to these notes. The next one is to draw someone. Now, I'm not talking about taking a pencil and drawing them, because that's a very simple verb. We can use to draw, meaning to bring someone in, to entice, or to create interest. And I've, as a joke, written the example, my milkshake draws all the boys to the yard. Do you know this song? The song usually goes, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. But instead of saying brings, we can use draws. My milkshake draws all the boys to the yard. Draws. So you could say that my YouTube videos draw a lot of attention. My accent videos particularly draw a lot of attention, draw many people in to my YouTube channel. Could you write me an example using the verb to draw? Yes, to draw someone's attention. Fantastic. Okay, so okay, let me just, so I'm just trying to read some of your comments here. Okay, some of you joining late saying, what's happened to your head? I got hit by a squash racket. That's what happened to my head. Okay, I'm going to move on. The next thing on the list is to break down barriers. To break down. Now, to break down can mean a number of different things, but when we're saying break down barriers, we're talking about improving understanding and communication between people who have different opinions. So usually if two people can't quite connect and communicate well, it's because they don't understand each other very well, or they have completely different backgrounds or completely different views and opinions on things. And that causes this barrier to go up between them. And so to break down barriers is to open up a line of communication and create an understanding between them. So to break down barriers. Okay, next on the list is impairment. Impairment here is just another way of saying disability. So you might see it written or hear people talking about physical or mental impairment, which is just another term for disability. Okay. The word unjust. If something is unjust, then it is unfair. You might hear a child say, no, it's not fair. But then a step further from that would be, it's unfair. It's unfair. Although my child would never say that. But a step further from that would be, it's unjust. It's unjust. So you would usually see this written in newspapers. It's definitely much more formal language. It's very unjust. That was an unjust comment you made. The injury I received was unjust. It was unfair. I didn't deserve this injury. The man who hit me should have called a let. and replayed the point, but never mind. Can she read our chats? Yes, I can read your chats. Good. If communication has broken down, then you need to break down those barriers and get communication back up and running. Okay. The case is unjust. Yes, absolutely. If we're talking about a legal case, a trial, if you feel like there is evidence there which shouldn't be there, that hasn't been properly gathered, or that there are things that are just not right, unfair, you can say this case is unjust, this trial is unjust. I demand a retrial. I don't know where Oval is. So you keep asking me, where is Oval? I don't know. I don't really follow. It's football, right? The Oval Stadium. I don't really follow football that closely. I'm sorry. It's definitely not close to my house. Otherwise, I'd probably be aware of that. So next on the list, we have disenfranchised. Disenfranchised. Now, this means if you disenfranchise, take the past tense. If you disenfranchise someone, you deprive them of a right or a privilege. I personally used to think this word meant disillusioned. It's where you kind of lose your passion for something. But it's different to disillusioned. It actually means to no longer have a right or a privilege. So disabled people can sometimes feel disenfranchised in society. They feel like they don't have the right to work, or they don't have the privilege to be able to work because it's not set up for them, or they're not given access. So they feel disenfranchised. Can you think of another way to use this word, disenfranchise? Have you ever used it before? Oh, the cricket ground, of course. Oval is the cricket ground. I think that's up in Richmond, is it? Which is not close to me, no. Okay, so next on the list is capabilities. Your capabilities are basically your abilities, what you are capable of. Yeah, it's just a more advanced way of saying ability, what you're able to do. Capable. I mean, it's just a lengthened version of the word, really, isn't it? Able, capable. Yeah. Okay, so your capabilities are your abilities. Are you a capable person? Are you capable of achieving all your tasks at work? Next on the list is the word converse. To converse is to talk to someone, to have a conversation. It's just a posh way of saying conversation, to converse. I wouldn't say I was conversing with my friends last night. It's definitely more formal. I don't think I've ever said converse, to be honest, actually. I've heard it a lot, but I've never said it. The next is clientele. Clientele is another posh word that we use for the word customers. So your clientele, you might say, here at this company, we have high-end clientele. We serve a specific clientele who like the finer things in life. Okay. Good. Do feel free to try and write some examples of these sentences, and I'll have a look. We know how to use our capabilities. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that, because you could say we know how to use our abilities, but it's a strange thing to say. You'd probably say we're aware of our capabilities. We are aware of our capabilities. I guess there is a difference. What you're capable of is what you can achieve. And your abilities could be seen more like your special powers, your skills. So I guess they could be treated slightly differently. What do you think, Ray? Is there a difference between capability and ability? There must be, because I'm capable of doing something, but I'm able to do something. I am converse with my geography. Okay, so to converse is to have a conversation with somebody. So you converse with a person. So you wouldn't say I am, you say I converse with. I converse with my geography teacher every Friday. Or I am having a conversation with, but I converse with, and then the person. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm a little out of sorts today. I think having a bang on the head definitely had an impact, but an impact on my cognitive abilities, my capabilities. But thank you for being so kind. I am capable of. I'm capable of. I'm able to, but I'm capable of. I'm capable of driving in heavy rain, you'd say, Manuel. Ray says they are similar. I guess we just use them slightly differently. I try to converse with him to get him to accept my offer. I think that would be. I try to converse with him to encourage him to accept my offer. Are they native words? Yes, of course. They're just more advanced words. So you see them written more in news articles or used in more formal settings, that's all. Airlines don't have enough clientele at the moment. Very good. Yes, I'm sure that is actually true. Very good. I prefer the red one, the red Reebok trainers over their Converse. Yes, Converse is also the name of a brand. I'm making a pun there. Their clientele has or have always favored quality over quantity. Very good. Very nice. We have the ability to write a story. I am capable of writing a story. Does it hurt? Not does it hurting. If you're using an ing form, you'd say, is it hurting? Is it hurting right now? Or does it hurt in general? So it hurts if I touch it or around the area. And it hurts if I try to use my eyebrows, because you can actually see it's going to be a bruise here. So it's a bit swollen. Yes, it hurts. But if I don't touch it or move my face, it's fine. I just have a headache, that's all. Oh dear. Don't play squash. It's so dangerous. You are a capable trainer. Very good. I had a converse with my manager. Can we use it like that? I converse with my manager. I converse with my manager. I had a conversation with my manager. I converse. Yeah, because converse is the verb, right? Let me just double check this. Converse. Conversed in English all night long. Yes, converse as a verb. So you wouldn't say I had a converse because you're making it a noun that way. So the noun is conversation. But to converse, yeah, the noun version is conversation. So converse is the verb. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for giving me that advanced with a D vocabulary. You're welcome. He did not have the capability to think for himself. Very good. Oh, I just saw a good one that's just escaped me. Oh no, I missed it. Where's it gone? Oh, maybe they deleted it. Okay, yes, ability and capability overlap. We could say that they are synonyms. What happened to her face? I got hit by a squash racket. Okay. His conversing at such seasons. What do you mean such seasons? Do you mean like such events? A season is spring, summer, autumn, winter, or you can have a season in terms of television programs. It runs for a season. But here it just feels a bit unusual. His conversing at such events was always elevating. Anna and I converse on Skype. Perfect. Good. Every people, capability, helping families. Okay, so every person is capable of helping their families or helping other families. Okay, every person or all people, every person, all people are capable of. It's a tricky one, isn't it? It's a tricky one. I'm capable of taking care of myself. I'm capable of taking care of myself. Okay, let's have a look at what comes next on the list. So we were up to clientele. Clientele. Next I have hinge on, to hinge on. So if something hinges on something, then it depends on something or it needs something in order to be successful. So a hinge, hang on, let me put myself back in there. Sorry, I pressed remove myself from the stream. Awkward. Yes, a hinge is, let's see if I have something with a hinge on here. No, I don't. Oh, do I? A hinge is a piece of metal that holds a door to a door frame. And it's the piece of metal that opens and closes like a book. And so it allows you to open and close a door. You usually have 2 or 3 hinges up the door to attach it to a door frame. Hinge. And so the phrasal verb to hinge on is, something is dependent on something to be successful. So you could say the success of my birthday party hinges on the guests. If the guests don't arrive, my birthday party will be a disaster. Or the case hinges on the strength of the evidence. The case hinges on the strength of the evidence. If the evidence isn't strong, then the case will fall apart, and it'll be dropped probably. It'll be thrown out of court. The success of my grammar book hinges on, double on there, hinges on my publisher promoting it worldwide. Very good example there. And yes, very true. You do have a grammar book. I know you do. And I wish you all the success in the world with it. I know it's taken you a long time and a lot of work. These things, these projects, they're huge. We always bite off more than we can chew. I hinge on you, my English teachers, to learn English perfectly. So you say my ability to learn English hinges on my English teachers. There's a better way of saying that. But name what it is first that hinges on, that relies on the other thing. So it's not you that hinge on it, it's your English learning that hinges on the quality of the teachers or the attendance of the teachers. Okay, hope that makes sense. To ride on, yeah, that's a similar one. I have everything riding on this. It is similar. We don't use it as often here, I don't think. I've got everything riding on this. I need this to work. Can you give me an example with ride on? I'm just trying to think of one off my head. I have everything riding on my English courses, I could say. I've almost completed the C2 course, and that means we now have 5 courses out. And the success of my business hinges on the success of these courses. Does that work? The success of my business rides on the success of these course launches, you might say. So I need students to take the courses in order for the business to thrive. That was a good suggestion there. Thank you for sharing that with us. Up to, hinging off, depending of. No, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. To be up to something can mean a lot of different things, but it doesn't mean to be dependent on. Passing your exams hinges on studying hard. Hinges on you studying hard. Yeah. Let's see if I can find some other examples. It's a tricky one to use, this hinges on. It might be worth doing a little Google search to see different examples of this being used. Okay, let's move on for now. And if I find any more examples that I could share and we can talk about, then I'll share them. Next, we have the word coincide. This is a good word, coincide. And this means when something happens at the same time as something else. So they coincide. You might say, I'm going to take this yoga class because it coincides with my partner's fitness class. So we're both taking a class at the same time, which is convenient because it means we could travel to the gym together and we finish at the same time. We can grab a coffee and go back home together. So coincide happens at the same time. Okay, what was next? Yes, to push for something. So obviously we know the word push, well, you're probably familiar with it. To push is the action of forcing something to move it. So you're giving a shove with your energy, your body weight, usually with your hands, but you can push with your back. Sometimes if I'm moving big, heavy furniture, I'll sit on the floor and push with my legs. It's probably why I've got bad knees. But to push. If you push for something, it means that you're demanding that something, you're demanding for something to happen, or you're demanding something of someone, or you're working hard to try and achieve something. So if you're exercising, you're in an exercise class and it's a really heavy exercise class and you're sweating and you're finding it difficult, your trainer, your leader might say, come on guys, this is the final push. Let's push for that 20 minutes cycle, if it's a spin class perhaps. So to push can mean to strive for, to try and achieve, or to demand. I might push my partner to do the washing up. I talk about the washing up all the time, but I might push him to do the washing up because maybe I'm sick of doing it. Okay, here we got some examples. My birthday coincides with Independence Day. Fantastic. I was listening to music. It coincides to Anna's class time. So listening to music, I was listening to music and it coincided with Anna's class. I was listening to music and it coincided. Because you've said in the past, I was doing something, then we're going to do past tense. It coincided with Anna's class. Okay. Oh, Ray, you're very sweet. Thank you so much. Your comments are not annoying at all. You're incredibly helpful, an absolute asset to the Elan community. So thank you for being here and for being so helpful. When we try to do exercise, it hinges on the weather over there. Yes. So, okay. So you're talking about in the UK, and that's a really great example, by the way. When we try to do exercise, doing exercise hinges on the weather. Absolutely. If you're doing exercise outside, then the weather can play a big part in as to whether you're successful or not. Because if it's raining and cold and miserable and dark, you just want to snuggle up with a cup of tea and a bar of chocolate. It's definitely how I'm feeling at the moment. It doesn't feel like summer anymore. It's quite depressing. We're in for a long winter. Here's a good one. Yes, to push for a promotion. So we've just been talking about pushing for something or to demand something. You might push for a promotion. So you're really pressing your boss for a promotion and working really hard to prove that you deserve a promotion. I always push for something from you. Does you like it? Do you? Never does you. Do you? Do you like it? Question mark. I always push for something from you. Do you like it? Yes. Good. Good. Let me see. More good examples. Achieving your goals hinges on striving. I take away striving hard. With striving, I'd usually use something like truly striving or just striving. Striving in itself is a big word, to strive, to work really hard for something. Achieving your goals hinges on striving, or take away striving maybe, hinges on working hard. Hard work and dedication. I have never been able to coincide with my wife where to go on holiday. Better we staycation. Okay, so you're using coincide here to mean agree. It's very clever and it's very funny, but coincide means to happen at the same time, not to be in alignment or in agreement. Okay, so you could say, I've never been able to agree with. Yeah, I've never been able to agree with my wife about where to go on holiday. Better that we staycation. Better that we have a staycation. A staycation, for those of you who don't know, is a holiday in your home country. So you don't leave the country, you don't go abroad. And that's what many people are having to do now with the pandemic and the difficulties with traveling. So most people have opted for a staycation. I'm pushing for a good score in the IELTS test. Fantastic. Good luck. We are pushing for a ban on nuclear testing. Very good. Okay. I'm just reading through. Oh, here's one. Go all out or go all in to achieve something. They mean the same thing. You can go all out or you can go all in. To go all out is very similar to put yourself out. So you make yourself vulnerable. It's like you're stepping out to the world and going, this is me. I'm going all out. I'm completely committed. I'm not hiding anything. To go all in is like referring to like gambling. When you're gambling, you might have a pool of chips, which are the coins that represent value of money. And you might put just some of your money onto each bet. But if you feel lucky and confident, you might go all in. So you put all your chips in. And so to go all in, I think, stems from gambling terminology. To go all in is to just put everything you have into the success of something. For example, as I said before, with my courses, my new business, I've gone all in. So all of my time, my effort, my savings, everything has gone in to the Elan project. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll be in trouble. But yes, to go all out or to go all in are exactly the same thing. Same sentiment. Really lovely phrases. Okay. Staycation is not a proper word, though. It's slang and not recognized in English grammar dictionaries. Yeah, staycation is a slangy term. So, but I mean, I wouldn't be nervous about using it. It's definitely a buzzword at the moment. And it's definitely not crude or anything. So, okay, let's have a look at the list and see what else we've got. What other gems we can uncover. To get a sense of something. This is a phrase that I see and use a lot, so I thought I'd mention it in case you're not familiar with it. To have a sense of achievement, fulfillment, a sense of enjoyment, a sense of fun. I've used all positive words here, but it could be a sense of something negative. You might have a sense of dread, a sense of nervous anticipation. Basically, to have a sense of something just means a feeling, maybe even an unexplained feeling about something. So I might say, imagining I was pregnant. I'm not, but imagining if I were pregnant, I might say, it's really exciting news, but I just have this sense of dread. I'm so scared that something might go wrong, or I feel like something's not right. Or I might say I have a sense of excitement and nervousness about the labor, about the birth. I don't know what to expect. So it's just to have a feeling of something that you can't always necessarily explain. Oh, we just had a new member join. Hello, John. Lovely for you to join us. Thank you. We have a Skype group for you to come and say hello. If it doesn't work out, then we will all burst into tears. So will I. So will I. Yes, to burst into tears is to suddenly spontaneously start crying. Okay, so we talked about a sense of something. When did you last have a sense of excitement or a sense of dread or a sense of fulfillment? I had a sense of dread today when I realized that we have a marketing company who are going to help us advertise our courses. But what they're working on is a campaign to advertise all our courses, which include a business English course. And I realized that starts in 3 weeks. They're going to start telling the world about all our courses. And I realized I haven't finished signing off the business course. So they're on course, which means they're keeping to their deadline. They're going to achieve their deadline in 3 weeks. They're going to tell the world. And I don't know if I can complete the business course in 3 weeks. I mean, it's finished. It just needs signing off. It needs bringing in line. And so I had a sense of dread today. When did you last have a sense of something? Share it with me. Nishanta, I have always a sense of something. I have a sense of nervousness when talking to a beautiful girl. What can I do? Very good. That's a really nice one. And if you're genuinely asking, always just remember that you're a wonderful person too, and that you don't need to be nervous. Take a deep breath and just focus on saying one thing at a time and listening to what they're saying. Repeat what they say back to them so that they know you were listening, and so that you can clarify what you heard. And yeah, just take your time. Don't rush. When we're nervous, we tend to stumble and say silly things. But that was a really nice example. Thank you for sharing. I have a sense that people get, take off the S, people get bored when I talk. Oh, I'm sure that's not true. Do you know, a lot of people think that they are not very interesting. And this is what makes many people, without realizing it, it makes many people speed up when they talk, especially when there's a number of people watching. So if you're doing a presentation or speaking to a group, you suddenly start to get nervous and speak a lot more quickly because you feel like what you're saying isn't very interesting or isn't good quality. And the best thing is to just try and ignore those feelings, because they're probably just your own, evil person. If you have two people, an angel and a devil on your shoulders, it's probably just your devil talking, telling you negative things. Hi, Ilaria. Thank you for joining us. You could do it, Anna. Thank you. Here's an interesting one. In or at or during rush hour. We definitely say during rush hour. Obviously during rush hour is at the point when it's happening. So I never travel during rush hour, ever. At rush hour, we would say, and that's usually at the point when rush hour begins. So I arrived at work at rush hour, or I arrived at the station at rush hour. That's terrible, isn't it? When you're trying to beat rush hour, but you arrive at the place where all the commuters are going to be at rush hour. And that's how it's at the start of that period. In rush hour is like during rush hour. I was traveling in rush hour. Yeah, we choose all of them. Rush hour, for those who don't know, is when commuting is at its busiest, when the trains are full and the roads are busy because people are going about their business. So they're going to work or they're going shopping, or whatever they do. But it's that period in the morning between usually 7:30 and 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then at the end of the day, around 4:30 from the school run, usually around 4:30 to about 6 o'clock. That's rush hour. However, things are changing because of the pandemic. Lots of people working from home. Morning rush hour doesn't look the same anymore, not in London. I think it's increasing a bit, but the trains are much quieter now, which is nice. Even though I applied for the job, I didn't have a sense of excitement. Good. Yeah, good. I've got a sense of my girlfriend. I have a sense, you might say, I have a sense that my girlfriend might dump me. I have a sense that my girlfriend might dump me. I hope that's not true, and I hope she doesn't. Good luck. Okay, should we do another one? Let's do another one. Okay, so we talked about push for something, a sense of something. Turnout. Now, turnout can mean a lot of things, but in this article, it meant finally knowing something or the result of something which is surprising. And so you say, it turns out that. So it was revealed that, or we discovered that something, and it was a surprise. So how can I use this as an example? We bought some plants and did some gardening, and it turns out that I'm very green-fingered. To be green-fingered means to be very good with plants. That's not true, by the way. I'm not very green-fingered. I'm just using it as an example. So we bought some plants and did some gardening, and it turns out that I'm very green-fingered. So that's something I discovered that I'm surprised about. You could say there was a murder investigation back in 1962 that went unsolved for 10 years, and it turned out that it was the husband who paid to bump off his missus. Okay, so it turned out in the past, it turned out that it was the husband who bumped off to bump off is to get rid of somebody, to bump off his missus, slang for his wife, or you can use it for girlfriend too. I thought it was just a rumor, but it turned out to be true. Yes, very good. So in the end, the result was it was actually true. It's so difficult to take a taxi with an I, not a Y, a taxi at rush hour to return home. Yeah, it can be. And expensive if you're taking a taxi during rush hour. Oh, how painful. And you watch the meter, going up and up and up. Nightmare. Guys, if you are here at the moment, I always forget to do these things, but could you give the video a bit of a like? That would be very much appreciated. And let's go on to the next one. A humanoid just refers to a machine that is like a human in some way. So these humanoid robots, some of the robots look like humans, so they are humanoid machines or humanoid robots. Good. The next word is to traverse. To traverse, I used to think this meant to go across something, but it actually just means to cross in any direction. It means to move or travel across any area. So I traversed Asia on a horse, on horseback, or I traversed the mountains on foot, you could say, or I traversed my garden to reach my house. Okay. Can we say red-fingered? That's an unusual one. No, I've never heard red-fingered. However, Ray said not red fingers, but you can say sticky-fingered. Yes, if you are sticky-fingered, it means that if you have sticky fingers, it means you're partial to stealing things. You like to just take things that you haven't been given permission to take. You have little sticky fingers. Nishanta, oh yes, you're such a flatterer. It turns out that Anna is not only a good mother, but also a good teacher. And thank you very much. I try my best. I had been learning to drive, I'd been learning to drive for 2 years, and it turned out to be an accident. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say with that. If you mean that you had an accident after 2 years, then that would be different. So you'd say something like, despite learning to drive for 2 years, I still ended up having an accident. So despite learning to drive for 2 years, I still ended up having an accident. Turn out is to discover something. So to learn something. I've been learning to drive for 2 years, and it turns out I'd been learning the wrong thing, you might say, or it turns out I don't need a driving license after all. That would be the right use of turnout. Okay. It turned out that the guy who was sent to jail for the murder was innocent. Yes, and it happens, doesn't it? It happens. I just think that's the most terrifying thing. To be jailed for something you didn't do, to lose a huge chunk of your life, wasting away in a jail cell, and to be innocent. Horrendous. I traversed the forest to find the shore. So just add the in there and that'd be perfect. The kiddies are quiet today. Yes, the kiddies are, well, Jacob's at nursery and Caspian is with the childminder. So we have very large childminding costs at the moment, which is unfortunate, but the nature of having young children while trying to work. And I missed them terribly. Can I say I traversed a difficult time, period or moment? You can. There's no reason why you can't, because you journeyed through a difficult time. So we always use that kind of metaphor. I haven't heard it very often, but there's no reason why you couldn't use that. It's kind of, creative use of language. Sometimes in the night, I wake up, not I awake. Just I wake up. I wake up asking myself, are the humanoids going to, what you want to say here is take over, not turn out. Take over the world. Are the humanoids going to take over the world? You can only use turn out for future if it's conditional. So you might say, if it turns out that humanoids take over the world, I'll eat my hat. I'm just trying to think of an example that would include the Terminator, because sometimes people think that the Terminator, the films with Arnold Schwarzenegger, might actually be correct and that actually AI will turn on us. But I can't think of a good example right now. I'll leave that to you guys. Okay, what do we have? Oh, bless you guys, are being so sweet. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I didn't do well in the exam, but it turned out with a great result. But it turned out I got a great result. I mean, it doesn't quite make sense. You could say I didn't do well in the exam, but but it turns out I learnt the best lesson through failure, because sometimes we do. And actually, it turns out that going in one direction in life, an unexpected direction, is better than what you had planned. Okay, this is a little politically charged, but let's go with it. Brazilians voted in Bolsonaro for president thinking he could do a great work, thinking he could do great work, but it turned out to be a disaster. It turned out to be a disaster. Yes. I agree with you, but I know not everyone does. I don't tend to talk about too many political things. But that was a good example. Well done. Okay, let's have a look at the list. I can't find any more examples to use. So the next one is element. An element it just means a part of something. So motherhood is an element of my life. It's a big element of my life. YouTubing is one element of my business. Yeah. The mark on my head is an element of bad choices on the squash court. Okay. Here's another turn out example. I thought my friend is a good person. Having said that, he turned out to be mischievous. Okay, so let's look at this. I thought my friend was a good person in the past. I thought that they were a good person. Having said that, he turned out to be mischievous. So I'd take away the phrase having said that, because having said that, you're not contradicting yourself. You're just saying that you thought something and then you learnt the truth. So you're not contradicting yourself. Having said that is used to contradict what you just said. So I'm on a diet. Having said that, I did just eat a big piece of cake. So I've just contradicted my own diet, as it were. So I'd say, I thought my friend was a good person, but it turned out, but he turned out to be mischievous. Okay, what else do we have? Lying is an element of politicians. Lying is, so it wouldn't be an element of politicians. It'd be an element of the politicians' work. Yeah, or it could be an element of a politician's personality. To be a liar could be an element of their personality, but it would be an element of a politician's work. It would be a part of their work. Yeah. Lying, or as they would say, spinning, to spin the truth, to turn things to show you the better light, or to show you a light that they want you to see, is an element of political rhetoric, political life, political work. Okay. Yeah, elements are also used when talking about like materials and stuff. So an element of diamond is carbon. I didn't mean to open that one. What's this one say? Watching your videos on YouTube is an element of my daily activities. Fantastic and lovely. And yes, a very good example. I studied Swahili for some time, but it turned out to be difficult. It turned out to be difficult. Maybe you say it turned out to be too difficult. Very good. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the last things on our list. Shrug off. I love this phrase, to shrug something off. So this is a shrug. And we shrug when we don't know something. Where are the keys? It means I don't know. Or it can mean I don't care. Like, do you want to come to the restaurant tonight and enjoy my birthday dinner? Don't know. Maybe. Don't care. So we usually do it when we're not that interested in something, or we don't know something. So it means that whatever's being said to us is unimportant, or that we just don't know. So to shrug off as a phrasal verb, to shrug off means that it means just to treat something as unimportant. So I might say to you, oh my goodness, have you seen all the crazy weather events? Global warming is real and I'm really worried about it. How do you feel about it? I just shrug it off. I'm fine. There's no weather here, just a few clouds. So that's me shrugging off the problem that is climate change. I'm treating it like it's unimportant. Okay, so just shrug something off. Sometimes it's a positive thing. Oh, she's so good at just shrugging off all the problems that come her way. She doesn't bat an eyelid. She just shrugs it off. She doesn't let it bother her. So it can be a positive thing, or it can be a negative thing. To just shrug something off all the time. It's just like you don't care about things. Okay. I had an accident yesterday. I was hit in the head, and initially I just held my head and I was like, oh, that hurt. But let's carry on. Just give me a second. Let's carry on. And they were all shaking their head saying, no, you need to stop and sort your head out. And I was like, no, let's keep playing. And they said, no, you're bleeding. I was ready to shrug it off And everybody else told me, no, I need to take it more seriously. Everyone else said you need to go and see a doctor, see if it needs stitching. But I shrugged it off initially because I would much rather play my sports than wait to see a doctor, because I love squash. So I tried to shrug it off, but they didn't let me. Here's an example. When I asked my friend, have you seen John? So here you'd actually say he just shrugged. He just shrugged. Yeah, you could, if John had been missing for a while and it was quite a big deal, it's like you say, I asked my friend if he knew about John's whereabouts, but he just shrugged the whole thing off. He didn't try to work out where my friend was. White lie, what does it mean? White lie means a lie that doesn't hurt anybody. So a lie that is okay to tell. For example, we tell our children that Father Christmas, I don't know who's watching this, I tell my child that the dummy fairy has taken his dummy to children who need it. And in return for taking his dummy away, she gave him a present. And now every time when my phone tinkles, which it does a lot in the evening, my son thinks that that's the dummy fairy coming to see if he's in bed already. And so that's a little white lie. It doesn't hurt anybody. And we use the lie to help manage his behavior and help him to understand why he needs to give up his dummies about growing up and things like that. And that's a little white lie. So it's a lie that doesn't hurt anyone, that it doesn't hurt anyone to tell it. Any others? Can you say shrug off about a person, to shrug someone off? I'm not sure if I have heard it used to talk about a person. He just, because you can actually a little bit, you can shrug someone off. But I feel like there's another term for it. She shrugged me off. Maybe I would Google that, because I think perhaps, yeah, here are some possibilities. Yeah, to brush someone off, to brush them off physically, like get away, or to snub them. I always think about the nose going up. If you snub someone, they talk to you and you go, just lift their nose up and turn away. How rude. So you might be snubbed at a party. Hi, it's lovely to see you. Very rude. Yes, to be snubbed. Okay. Is it normal of not understanding British comedians? I mean, is it normal to not be able to understand British comedians? Yes, I'm not surprised. British comedians, many of them have very strong accents. Actually, some of my favorite comedians have very, very strong regional accents, or they have unusual voices. And that's kind of part of what makes them interesting and different to listen to. So I'm not surprised. And they also, talk in a very informal way most of the time. And they use a lot of like features of speech, like puns and metaphors, similes, things that plays on words, a lot of plays on words. And so I don't blame you for finding them difficult to understand. Just persevere. It's normally raining here, but I shrug it off. Yeah, doesn't matter. I'll go out anyway. Good for you. Fantastic. Right, let's finish this list. We're nearly there. So we've got fad. We talked about a fad. A fad can be a style of clothing, an activity, so a thing that happens, or an interest. that everyone's into. You know, sometimes these social media platforms are fads, aren't they? What do we have? Snapchat, is that still going, or was that a fad? It's something that's popular for a short period of time and then it's done. I've written here also a flash in the pan. A flash in the pan is something that, like, it's like when something in a pan it sets on fire and everyone goes woo in a restaurant. So they flash it in the pan, but it only is on fire for a moment and then that stops. Otherwise, it would be burnt to a crisp. And so a fad is a fashion or a thing, like maybe exercising in the park might be a fad for a little while, or planking was a fad. Everyone was planking and taking pictures of themselves planking in different places. Or that thing where you jump out of a moving car and dance next to the moving car. That was a silly fad, wasn't it? So a fad, something that's popular for a short period of time. MySpace was a fad. Yeah, I had a MySpace account. I think I recently deleted it because I found it was still going. I was like, what? I've forgotten all about that. So yeah, a fad. MySpace. Were you on MySpace? YouTube did survive. I'm very glad about that. Yeah, did you know YouTube started out as a dating site? Did you know that? It did. That's how it started its life. It started as a dating site. And now it's, you know, it's just unconceivable to think that it was a dating site once. Okay. Hi, Julia. You've just joined. We're just getting to the end of our big list. Okay, so the last one is a saving grace. A saving grace is a small good thing that kind of offsets a bad situation. So it's like the phrase a silver lining. Every cloud has a silver lining. So the cloud is big, the cloud is grey, the cloud brings misery. But occasionally when the sun is behind the cloud, you'll see a little silver lining, which is beautiful. And so a small good thing in a bad situation, or a small good outcome from a bad situation, is a saving grace. And they say that at the end of this article. So now we've covered all of those words and phrases. If we go back and look at the article again, it will hopefully make a little bit more sense. So does anyone have any questions about what we've covered? And should we move on and read through the article straight away? Let me know. I heard a noise and turned back what it was, and turned back to see what it was. You need in there why you turned back, and turned back to see what it was, but then I just shrugged it off. I would add in something like, I turned back to see what it was. I couldn't see anything, so I shrugged it off. Sometimes life gives us life, not live, or live, life with an F. Sometimes life gives us a surprise. So every cloud has her silver line, or a silver lining. Very good. Okay, let's go through this article and we'll see those things that we've covered as we go through. Okay, so Tokyo's first robot-staffed cafe is more than a mere marketing stunt to draw customers. Okay, so it's a robot-staffed cafe. It's an unusual thing, but it's not a mere marketing stunt. Remember, mere means an unimportant little thing. A marketing stunt is an event that's done only to bring attention to a product or a brand. To draw customers, remember, my milkshake draws all the boys to the yard. So to entice and encourage. Okay. Tokyo's first robot-staffed cafe is more than a mere marketing stunt to draw customers. It's more than that. Dawn Cafe is breaking down barriers. So remember, it's opening up these the communication between people who've not been able to communicate before. So it's breaking down barriers for those living with physical and mental impairment, disabilities, leaving them unjustly So it's not fair. Unjustly disenfranchised means that it's not fair because they don't have the rights or the ability to fit in with society. And so it's the impairment that's leaving them unjustly disenfranchised from society. But Dawn Cafe is breaking down that barrier, is allowing them to get involved. Operating robots called orihime from their homes. So these people who are living with these impairments are operating the robots from their homes. Employees have a variety of capabilities, such as handling the robots using eye movements via specialized computer boards, which also allows them to converse. Remember, it's the verb to have a conversation with the clientele, the customers. Are you with me so far? Hopefully. Here we go. Kentaro Yoshifuji, co-founder of the robotics group Orilab, believes the cafe's success hinges on the ability to have communication between employees and customers. So it won't be successful without this. This is important for the success of the cafe. He says, customers here are not exactly coming to this location just to meet orihime. They come here because of the people behind orihime. They will come back to see them again. The cafe opened its doors just in time for the city's hosting of the Paralympics, which also coincided, so it happened at the same time as, or coincided with the We the 15 global push for, remember, to demand or to try and achieve something, the global push for an end to prejudice against the world's disabled population. One of the cafe's employees, Michino Imai, tells us that this job gives him a sense of achievement, a feeling of achievement. He said, as long as I'm alive, I want to give something back to the community by working. Conversations via small robots help customers discover more about the experiences of those operating them, which turns out, we discovered that, and this is surprising, it turned out to be a great learning opportunity for all involved. Mamoru Fukaya shares his experience. I find it so hard to read these names. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We'll find out in a minute. The pilot was very friendly. Since he said he can't work outside his home, it's very good for such a person to have this kind of chance. While humanoid robots traverse to travel across the cafe floor, waiting tables. I'm just going to stop with this bit a minute. So if you are a waiter or waitress, you wait tables. It's quite an unusual way to use the verb wait, because you normally say, I wait for. But when you're talking about a waiter or a waitress doing their job, they wait on tables or they wait on their customers. And so to wait on something is it's a bit of an odd way to use that verb. But you can also just say they wait tables, they're waiting tables. So it's a little unusual, but that's the way we use the verb in that setting. The small robots provide a more human element to the experience. Many may shrug off, so they'll treat it as unimportant. They'll shrug off the robot cafe as a mere fad. So remember, mere, again, we used that earlier, meaning an unimportant thing, a small thing, and fad being something that's only popular for a short time. So it's just a fad, a mere fad. Nevertheless, for Imai, it's his saving grace. It's the small good thing at the end of not at the end of, but on the outskirts of a big bad thing. He says, I feel happy if I can be part of society. Good. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that? Did that make more sense the next time round, the second time round, having gone through the vocabulary? Hopefully it did. Let's have a quick look at your comments. Are you about to finish the class, Viviana? No, well, we will soon, very soon. I'm just going to play the video one more time for everyone and then wrap up. What are the symbols next to your name? What symbols? What symbols? Do I have symbols next to my name? Oh, do you mean in the chat? Oh, okay. Some people have like a sideways S next to their name, and it means that they are members on YouTube. The YouTube has a membership program where people can donate some money towards creators, and in return they get access to a Skype group, access to some notes, access to some videos that aren't available to everybody. So that's what the little symbols next to people's names represent, if that's what you're talking about. I thought you meant my name then. I don't understand. Okay. I'm confused. Tell me what's confusing you. Which bit is confusing you? Can you just repeat all the vocabulary? Yes, I can. Let's have a quick look at all the vocabulary once more. So we had marketing stunt, something you do to get attention for a product. Mere, you use it to emphasize that something's not important. To draw people, come on. To break down barriers, to open up understanding between people. Impairment, meaning disability. Unjust, meaning unfair. Disenfranchised, meaning that you're deprived of your rights or your privileges. Capabilities. Converse, which is the verb for conversation. Clientele, meaning customer. Something hinges on something, so to depend on. Coincide, happening at the same time. To push for something, so to try and get something or demand something from someone. A sense of something is to get a feeling. Turn out is to finally know something, but in a surprising way. Humanoid is a machine that looks or feels like a human. To traverse is to travel, basically, to travel, to move. Element is a part of something. To shrug off, to treat something like it's not important. A fad is a passing popular style or activity that's popular for a short time. And a saving grace, a good thing in a bad situation. Okay. Could you explain to us a sense of something again? Yeah, a sense of something just means a feeling of something. Right now, I have a sense of excitement because I'm going to see my son soon. I have a growing sense of excitement. So it's a feeling of something. Every time I see your forehead, tears drop down over my chin. It's something I can avoid it. Oversensibility in my eyes. Please don't worry, it's fine. If Anna twists her, this is something that I correct a lot with my students. Women, females, her, she. Men are his, him, he. So trying to remember those. But her, twists her headphones. It turns, you're trying to use turn out. You could say, so turn out is not necessarily to result in. Turn out is more about discovering something that's already apparent or that's already the case. It's not, Anna twisting her headphones results in her headphones breaking. That's different. That's the end result of my action. So you could say Anna was wearing headphones, but it turns out they weren't working. So that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because I'm wearing headphones that don't work. So they're useless. But it turns out they were never working. Why was she wearing headphones the whole time? To be honest, I don't know why I'm wearing them. I don't know why I'm wearing them. Turns out it was unnecessary. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay. I usually forget the meanings of the memorized words. What is the best method for memorizing vocabulary? Really good question. Okay, so the reason you forget words is that you're memorizing is because you are not forming a long-term attachment to that word. You're not forming the kind of neurological pathways that you need to form for something to become long-term memory. You make a quick connection neurologically. You make a quick connection in the brain, and then that breaks down because the brain is constantly changing and adjusting. The memory is cutting away unnecessary information. So what you need to do to form a long-term memory is to revisit a piece of information multiple times so that you reinforce that connection. It's like, imagine you're driving through sand. The first time you drive through perfectly flat sand, you're going to leave a tread mark behind you. Tire marks will be there so people can see where you've been. If you don't go over that same path again, if you don't drive that same route again, then the sea will come in and wash those tread marks away. If you do drive again later that day, you'll make the tread marks deeper. And then if you come back and do it again in the morning, they'll get deeper still. And the ocean is coming in and out, but it might not wash away the depth of those tread marks. So by going over and over that information, you're making the treads deeper and deeper and deeper until there comes a point where the ocean will not wash away. Time will not wash away that memory that you formed. So what I always suggest that you do as a review schedule is to learn a piece of information, revisit it again within an hour or two, and then revisit it once more at the end of a day. So I learn the phrase a fad or shrug off now. In an hour, I'll look at that again and think about it again for a second. Then before I go to bed, I'll look at it again. I've made a list, a handwritten list. That always helps, writing by hand. Then tomorrow, look again, only once, but look once more tomorrow. Then in a week, look again. And then in a month. And that's it. So in an hour, end of the day, next week, next month, 5 times, that will be enough, should be enough to get that into your long-term memory. When it comes to vocabulary, because there is so much, it's also going to be excellent if you try to get the words into your regular speaking. So I tend to, when advising my pronunciation students, if they have a number of sounds to work on, I say, okay, today you've been looking at this particular lesson. Why not keep that lesson in your head for the next 2-3 days? Maybe it's working on the TH sound. So only think about the TH sound for the next few days. And so this can be the same for vocabulary. Think about the phrase fad or silver lining, or to have a sense of something. Choose one of them and try to get them into a conversation, or use it when typing a comment in a chat. Okay, so by using it, you're going to go over those treads and make those treads deeper. I hope that helps. Okay, but yeah, repetition really is the key. Practice really does make perfect. But that was a very good question. So thank you for posing that. Oh, let's take that off. Okay. Oh my goodness, I need to go because I now have a conversation clinic with my students on Zoom. So I really need to go. I didn't realize what time it was. I'm going to really wrap this up and say thank you to sensationsenglish.com for helping us out with the material. Do go over and check them out. And if you want to join us in one of our conversation clubs, which we hold twice a week at the moment, do consider joining us at englishlikeanative.co.uk, where you can join any of our English courses or pronunciation course. And very soon, because I will finish it, the business course. Thanks for following, guys. Take care.